right, everybody. Special edition Monday morning Cornerman here with the Mike Brown. Hey, Mike, thanks for coming on. Okay, so no fights this weekend to analyze, so I figured we'd do something a little different, a little conversation about stuff that I've been talking about, especially the last few weeks with the fights. Before we do that, though, Mike, the reason why I wanted to do this with you is because, you know, we used to watch fights a lot back in the day, and I remember we used to, you specifically used to really break down moves, and I think that's part of the reason why you're such a good coach is that you're really, really into just the moves before the moves and after the moves. Like, you just love seeing these little techniques. Like, how many times have we seen things that what George St. Pierre would do, Daniel Cormier would do, and we would just come in here Monday, Tuesday and drill it, right? And it's stuff that you noticed. And I remember watching one fight years ago, and you'd be like, oh, maybe we should drill that on Monday or Tuesday, and stuff like that. Another reason I think to your success as a coach is or really any high-level coaches, you're very good at not drilling square pegs in round holes. You know what I mean by that? Like, if a fighter can't do something, or we're going to use me as an example, but if a fighter can't do something, you don't force them to do it. Like me, I was not a very good striker. I wasn't very athletic. I wasn't very fast. And you used to say to me all the time, like, well, you're not exactly athletic, so let's work, but you could wrestle and you're strong.
I never said you were. I never said you.
Okay, all right. That's the reporter in me.
That's you.
No, all right, okay. Well, no. You know, actually, no, what you would say is we're not the fastest fighters in the world, so we need to. But thank you.
Because you're strong and good balance and all that jazz. But I didn't think you were super fast.
Yes, and I'm not.
I'm not as well.
Yeah,
I'm comparing you to myself. Yeah.
That's what you used to say. Like, we're not the fastest fighters in the world, so what can we work with? Okay. Yes, that's exactly what you say.
Unathletic is. That's not.
That's what I would say.
You wouldn't want that. You wouldn't want that.
That's what I would say in the mirror. So, but I confused the two. But no, and I think that, you know, that led to my success as a fighter, and I think that's, you do that all around. You're very good with that. I noticed, I used to see on the amateur scene a lot, I used to see a lot of these coaches would be like, that's why I always have my guys, they all do teep kicks, they all do this. It's like, you know, I'm generalizing, but a lot of fighters, a lot of coaches think it's one size fits all, and it's not the case.
Yeah.
And especially with you, I was just thinking when you were working over there before, you're probably in an average of at least 10 title fights a year, right?
I mean, I don't know.
Between PFL, Rizin,
yeah.
Okay, and that's a big deal because I didn't want to say cornering 10. I want to say because it's not just the fight's the tip of the iceberg, as we know. You're working with these fighters for 8 to 12 weeks, game planning, video, strategy, drilling, making sure that their cardio's up, just stuff like that. And that's a lot. That's like they're world championship fights. It's like Bill Belichick having 10 Super Bowls a season, and that's that. There's a lot to be said about that, compartmentalizing as a coach and everything. But I just wanted to, give you those daps on that, and you're appreciated in the sport for sure.
I mean, the more the more fights I'm involved with, the more fighters I'm involved with, the more I realize how much genetics play a factor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's got different genes, and everybody has different limitations, and one fighter is much different than another, right? But there's there's a lot more ways than one to a world title. There's not one way. You can do it many different ways.
Yeah.
But different techniques sometimes require different body types.
Right.
I think.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. I'm not going to try and stand straight up. I used to against taller guys. I tried not to box for my takedowns. I would try to shoot under their long strikes, stuff like that, or head movement.
Yeah.
One thing I remember that you used to try to correct me is I always used to move my head to the right. And I notice that a lot now when I'm coaching because I was so bad at it. Instead of going tick-tock, I was just going tick, tick, tick.
Yeah.
And that's how, especially against longer fighters. But I guess, let's go with that. Let's stick with that right there. So let's take me as an example. I want to work my way in and this is why I've noticed a lot in the main events. Last week with Misha Tate, and I noticed this with Dumont versus, I forget her name. It's slipping my head right now. A few weeks ago, their coaches were saying, get in close, get them in a telephone booth.
Yeah.
And what that means to you guys watching, as I said in the video, is telephone booths are tight. You want to get them in and use short punches to score or take down. But that is one thing. Getting there is another. Mm-hmm. So give me an example of how you would think to get there, like whether it be feints, head movement.
I mean, I think there's only
Uh-huh.
two ways to do it, basically.
Yeah.
Either you're gonna punch and close the distance, or you're gonna wait for them to strike and close the distance.
Right.
So either you're gonna slip and close the distance, or it's gonna be off my offense where I'm gonna punch and close the distance.
Yeah.
Anything else is gonna be seen very easily, right?
Mhm.
It has to be just like wrestling, judo, all these other like grappling, martial arts, combat sports. Setup is everything.
Yep.
Same with MMA. And really, there's not. I mean, unless somehow you clinch by accident, but that's it basically. You're either gonna punch and go, or you're gonna slip and go.
Yeah.
Those are your options.
Yeah, and like what I like to think of that is sometimes it's punch and go and then slip and go, or you put it in reverse.
Mhm.
You know, that's stuff I like. It's not who knows the most moves, it's who makes the least mistakes, and you could just chain those basic things together, and you know, that's basically what it's all about. Let's try to. Well, I mean, I'm only working on my phone here. Can we stand up? Can you just show me how you would punch into me to clinch? Does that make sense?
Into a
Any clinch doesn't matter.
okay.
Like I know one thing you showed, you used to like the looping punches so you can grab on.
Yeah,
the
yeah. For myself these days, I if I'm gonna punch, I'd rather probably drive these days. So if we
Yes.
were, for instance, if we were, so if I'm gonna take a shot, I'm gonna like set it up. Hopefully, I'm in a distance where you can't touch me. So I'm gonna from out of range. I'm gonna throw a punch, right? Get you to blink, get you to react, and then I'm gonna take my shot, right?
Yes.
Double leg, right? Punch, single leg, something like this, right? Whatever I want to do, but I want you not thinking about the takedown. I don't want you thinking about the defense. I want you worrying about the strikes.
Right.
So even if it's not going to be hard, I'm just using it as a setup. Whoop, whoop, right? Always using that as an entry.
Right. Yeah, that's perfect. There, we'll go.
Pretty simple.
One thing I used to try to tell the fighters when I was coaching the amateurs is, you know, early on in I used to always think that I knew the bread and butter setup. It was always a right hand would lead me to a high crotch. When you get up, it's not that simple. You know, and those of you who watch NCAA wrestling, there's really no clean cut setup. So I would always say, my drilling would be, listen, I want to see any combination to any takedown that just feels natural. Like you said, as soon as I got here, and whatever gets the hands away from the legs, that's the end game, right? Like that's what's important. It's really not which punch or whatever. What was I going to say off of that next?
It's hard to down block.
Yeah.
With a hand in your face. Their
Yeah.
natural reaction is to defend the strike first,
Mhm.
and by that time you're halfway in on the legs, and they're not just down blocking with underhooks.
Right. And let's say they're doing that. The face is right open, right? Like so,
Yeah, right,
So we gotta remember
right,
it's
right.
MMA.
You pop.
You punch them right in the face.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think what's anything else that you can add off that? You think or?
I mean, you can also, you see a lot of guys will slip strikes, right? So you can wait, just like in boxing. And I mean, you see it in boxing all the time. The way they clinch in boxing is usually after, you know, punch is thrown, they make a miss and they grab hold.
Yeah.
I mean, you see a lot of takedowns off other people's offense, right? Somebody,
Yeah.
this is like real
Cliche.
basic, real classic, like slip and drive. Guy throws a punch, you slip it, drive through them, run your feet right through them, you know, because they're gonna commit, they're gonna go through you, and then you're gonna get in deep. That makes it pretty easy, right? Like the sport of wrestling, if a guy's backing away, that's stalling.
Yeah.
Right? In fighting, they can do that. So sometimes it's difficult to take a guy down if he just wants to run and like lightly punch. But once a guy is committing hard and trying to hurt you with his shots, then it's going to be easy to level change, let the punches go by you, and now you're going to be deep on his legs and hopefully drive through him and get him to the ground.
One fight that you make me think of when you say that is, for those of you who watch the sport that long, is Randy Vitor 1. When he took him down, Vitor threw. Vitor was known for blitzing forward, and Randy hit him with a nice, beautiful blast double underneath those strikes.
Did he? Is that what it was?
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I mean, it's been so, what is that? That might
That's
be 15
classic.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going back. That's dating us. But I think that's it, though. Coach Brown, I know you got a busy rest of the year, and thank you very much for having us.
Amazing.
Thank you, guys. Check it out.
Good stuff.